Hey, good morning, and welcome to BACKtalk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine, featuring in-depth conversations and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked number one on FeedSpot as the best Black family podcast, and we are in the second spot as the best mom podcast, and we're now number one on Million Podcasts as well. And guys, we need you to just watch and engage so that we can be number one everywhere. Because I like to be number one. I'm your host, Janice Robinson-Celeste, and now Successful Black Parenting Magazine has an interactive community of like-minded parents called the Black Parenting Academy, where you can converse and post questions, comments, wins, and concerns in a safe space. And I'll be sharing that link with you later during the show, so watch for it. Have you ever wished your child would listen the first time without yelling, bribing, losing your cool? Well, we are about to find out how to do that with YouTube celebrity Miss Monica. So she's so cool with all the kids. So now I'm going to be cool too. So stay tuned.
This is BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, Successful Black parents. Thank you for tuning into BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We are your go-to podcast talk show for parents. We are live today, and that means you can post your questions in the comment sections of our Facebook or YouTube pages. And if you do not have a question, you can always just comment and say, hey, I'm here. We'd like to know you're here and where you're from. And if you have a question, I'll address it live on air. I'll put it up there so that everyone can see it. And that way, Miss Monica and I can address it. Please don't forget to share if you care. Send our podcast to your friends, shout it out to your followers, and don't forget to use hashtag BACKtalk when you post. If you are a parent of a young child, you probably heard this tune before.
Circle time makes learning fun. Come sing, dance, everyone now. Circle time makes learning fun. Come sing, dance, everyone now. Yay! Good morning. How are you? How are you, friends? My name is Miss Monica. What's your name?
That's Miss Monica, and today she's here on BACKtalk to help parents bring that same joyful learning energy home. Welcome, Miss Monica.
Thank you. I was in here dancing.
I was too. I'm doing the Carlton dance. Oh my gosh. You are becoming a household name if you're not already in most households. And if you don't know her, you need to know her and find her YouTube channel. So for those that might not know you yet, can you share who you are and what inspired you to create Circle Time with Miss Monica?
Well, thank you, first of all, for having me on BACKtalk. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you and have this conversation. But yes, I am Ms. Monica, also known as my real name, Monica J. Sutton. And I'm the creator and host of the popular preschool show, Circle Time with Miss Monica. I am an early childhood educator. I have been an educator for over 21 years, mainly in New York City. And I was inspired to create the show Circle Time with Miss Monica because when the pandemic hit and schools suddenly closed and millions of children were just learning from home, I knew I needed to do something to stay connected to not only my students, but then to also offer something for all of those preschool parents out there that were just like, what am I doing? What are we doing? And so that is really where it started. And so that was the inspiration behind it, staying connected to my students and then offering something for everyone. And it just snowballed and took on a life of its own.
Well, you met a need right there because I remember during COVID that even I got approached to teach school in the house because I have a granddaughter who was 2 at the time and she was in preschool, but everyone was afraid to send their kid to school. And so I had like 5 other people who wanted me to teach, like I taught my granddaughter, and I decided not to because I was busy doing the magazine. But no, absolutely. So that was really smart of you to do. Now, before we get into the show and what you do and how you can help parents, I always ask our guests to tell us something that most people might not know about you, something fun, unexpected, or totally outside of the classroom.
Sure. This is a great question, honestly. I feel like I don't get to talk about this enough, but something you probably don't know about me is my education experience or teaching experience really started in the swimming pool. I was a lifeguard from a young age, well, teenage years. And then I was determined to become a certified water safety instructor. And so I started at 16 teaching swimming lessons at my local YMCA and then in the New York City Parks Department. And I stayed doing that throughout college. Like, okay, it helped me buy textbooks and everything. So honestly, teaching started for me way back in the swimming pool.
Wow, so you can teach swim lessons too. That's amazing. Well-rounded. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, you've helped so many families create structure through Circle Time. Why is routine so important for young children, and how can parents build structure without making it feel like military school?
Well, we know, especially for young children, but children in general, routine is important. They learn through routines, they learn through repetition. I love talking about repetition, especially in the younger years, because children truly learn through repetition and play. And so, if you can really make the structure and boundaries, if you can make that fun in a way, or even just something that is normal, a part of their everyday routine, then you probably will most likely get like a better outcome when it comes to children following and paying attention to the structure and listening, is what we're talking about today. But so much of what, and I'm sure you know this, Janice, as well, in these early childhood classrooms, it's important for the teachers to quickly create routines and boundaries. And we don't always call them rules, but that's what it is. But quickly creating these things in your classroom, especially in the beginning of the year, because that helps children to understand, oh, what am I supposed to be doing? Right. And it's the same thing, honestly, at home. Really.
Let's talk about the comment below. Why structure matters more than strictness. Like you strict parents, like, do they need to be strict at this age? I mean, we're talking like young children under age of 5, guys, under the age of 5. Miss Monica, can you answer that?
Sure. Well, I feel like this is definitely going to be something that you individually as a family have to decide. Is being strict, is that important to you? What does that mean? Because strictness is going to mean something different in every household. But what I will say is structure matters. Before anything, the structure does matter. The boundaries do matter. And connecting, even before the structure, the connection between parent and child, that honestly matters. That you have your child, not only you, but you both have understanding of what the structure means, why are we even doing this, what's expected. And of course, with children under 5, their level of understanding is going to vary, right? But they still can, I don't care what age, they can still have an idea of what is expected of them. And that is where the structure comes in. That's what helps with them understanding, oh, this is what's expected of me. Oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, it's brush your teeth time. Oh, it's time to clean up, whatever the case is. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Here's the challenge most parents have:
Mm-hmm.
getting kids to listen. And I can tell you, and I know you probably can relate to this, but being a teacher in a classroom, I tend to repeat myself without even realize I'm repeating myself. Where to the point, my older children are like, I heard you the first time, but I will say something 3 times minimum. And I said, look, I'm a teacher. That's what we do. We repeat. But every parent wants their child to listen, and it's not always easy. What are a few real world strategies you can recommend to get kids to listen the first time with empathy and respect? Because that's important.
Empathy. You said 2 keywords, empathy and respect. I think the empathy really lends to the understanding and the connection. Because if you can get your child to connect to you and with you, then we can move on to the what is it you're supposed to be doing. So, for example, when you find yourself repeating yourself over and over, put that away or throw that in the garbage or whatever the case is, take a moment to just pause. I always remind parents of this. This is a saying I've been saying forever, and it's pause to connect. So When you find yourself overwhelmed, my child isn't listening, I repeated myself 10 times, I am now yelling, I am so frustrated. I think it's important to pause. Take that pause for yourself. That is literally for the adult, for the grown up in the situation, to pause and just center yourself and just gather yourself, right? Before you start to, whether it's repeat or whether it's tell them, I need you to do this, before you say anything or give any kind of direction, really pause. And then your connection with yourself is so important, just calming yourself and then respond to what's happened. So it's happening. So you're not reacting to what's happening. Respond to what's happening. And if you can do that, I think that is a real world tip that you can really take. And this is in any situation. It can be the tantrum. It can be with your child just ignoring you. It can be you just frustrated because you're having a horrible day, which happens often. You're just having a rough day and you just want everyone to do what they're supposed to do so your day could at least end a little smoother, right? So that is the pause to connect is really for you first, and then you can respond to whatever is happening. I think that before anything is so important, because what's happening with you? How are you feeling? What's happening inside?
Yes, pause to connect. All right. And if you really want them to listen, just turn on Miss Monica. Let them watch your show.
Put that on for a little bit. Just, we're gonna have a 12-minute, 15-minute break. Okay.
Right. Get some coffee or something. Relax while they watch you on the screen. So that I think that's a good advice as well. Let's see. We have some comments. Okay, I just wanted to see. Someone said how to keep children away from mobile phones. Look at this. Ooh. That's a question from Worldwide Travelers. I never even thought about that. So I guess is your child stealing your phone? Because I know I've gotten pictures on my phone from the grandchildren, from when I taught high school too. I would leave my phone on. I trusted my students. I don't know, but I left my phone on my desk because they were pretty good kids. But I would come back and I would look at my pictures, and even the high school students would have their pictures on my phone. So, surprise.
I can see this happening. What I'm thinking about Worldwide Travelers is your child is probably grabbing for that phone every time you pull it out because they know what they can do on the phone. They know what's on the phone. So if they've ever watched a program, a show, Circle Time with Miss Monica on your phone, or if they've ever played an app like a game on your phone, then now they have already connected your phone to fun, your phone to that, whatever that enjoyment is. And so that could be a reason why they're pulling for your phone every time you pull it out. So you can't even get 2 seconds on your phone without them trying to take it out of your hand. Now so that's a great question. And that really is going to boil down to how are you going to set the boundary of you have phone time or you have tablet time or whatever, and other instances when the grown-up is using it, it's time for the grown-up to use it. So you have to really establish what that's going to look like in your home, and then you have to explain it to your child, of course, in a way that they're going to understand depending on their age. But if you say, let's just say you use the word, it's not playtime now, playtime is later, or this is mommy's turn, or it's daddy's turn for the phone, that is something you really have to establish, but you have to be consistent with it. Whatever you decide that looks like, whatever words you want to use or whatever you want to tell them, whatever routine you want to put in place, just be consistent with it. And you will have to repeat yourself over and over until they get the concept. So you have to stick to it, right? You have to stick to it. Whatever it is you're telling them, you really have to stick to that boundary. And then, and you will be repeating yourself for young children. You will.
Yeah. So she's connected, as most parents do, fun with their phone. So the boundaries have to be there. That's I never thought about it like that at all. So thank you for that. But you have said in the past, you can correct children with empathy. That's how we preserve their spirits. That's quote. Can you break that down for us? And what does discipline with empathy look like in practice?
I think discipline with empathy, it goes right back to that word of connection and understanding. So when I talked about pausing yourself and connecting with yourself first before you respond to your child, that's important, because in order for you to connect with your child and have any kind of understanding of what's happening in the situation, you definitely have to be in a calm state, in a state of you receiving what's happening. So with, correcting and disciplining with, or not even so much disciplining, but teaching with empathy it really goes, it comes back to that connection piece and that understanding what your child needs. So when you are trying to teach your child to listen, follow directions, follow rules, it doesn't have to come with yelling, and it doesn't have to come with shame. It can really come with, just um, repetitive rules and routines, and really explaining to them what needs to be done, and taking the time to sit down, make sure they're looking at you in your eyes, you're looking at them in their eyes, and you're really having this connection before you start to talk about what is expected of them. And that to me is leading with the empathy. Because if you can get the child to really feel safe in the moment and really feel connected and even loved in the moment, then they are probably more keen to follow through and try to cooperate and move forward with whatever it is you're asking. So that can definitely help, I believe, to preserve their spirit. They need that. They need that comfort and that safety. Definitely.
And what if you have a stubborn child who
Mhm.
refuses to listen? What do we do?
You're gonna have to. Well, some children need a little more connection, and they need a little more time and a little more breaking down what the boundaries are. And it goes back to you sticking to whatever you decided those boundaries are, or whatever those rules are. And everyone in the family, that, let's say, whether it's older children, but the adults, especially the grown-ups in the family, everyone should be on the same page. So if we are telling the stubborn child they cannot use their tablet after 6 p.m. If that is the rule, if that is what you've decided as a household, then everyone needs to be on board in the household, right? Because if you already have a child who's stubborn and has, needs a little more connection there, and a little more of you breaking down what the rules are, then everyone needs to be on board so that everyone can really remind them and repeat the rules, remind them what is expected of them until they get it, right? Until they finally say, okay, I get it. This is what's supposed to happen. Because if I don't do this, then I can't do this. If I don't do A, I can't do B. And I can't go to mom and schmooze her and just get the tablet while dad is saying you can't have it. No, everyone is on board and everyone understands what's going on. So that is really important when it comes to, a child that may be stubborn.
I agree. And consistency as well, because once you break it one time, you just taught them they can continue to break it, or they can push you to break it, right?
True,
So
for
that's so important when you just basically fed the stubbornness by letting them have their way. Also, you got to ask yourself, well, where did they get that stubbornness from? Like, which parents?
I
Which
mean,
parent?
they are learning the skills of negotiation early.
Oh,
They
they
know that,
are.
believe me, and they are going to try it and try you. As grown-ups, hey, we're always negotiating too. We're trying it too. So I
Yeah.
mean, they're human. Yeah.
I always say they're going to be great business people when they negotiate
Yes.
so well. Like you just got to keep that in the back of your mind when they're back and to say, well, what about if I do this and that? And then just, okay, you're going to be a great maybe attorney one day, maybe a contract negotiator. But, I appreciate that, but no.
Right now, we love that for you in the future. Not right
Yeah,
now, but we love that.
absolutely. Absolutely. How can parents teach emotional intelligence in everyday moments, especially when they're juggling work and stress and other kids in the family?
You
That's just
said something that's important. It's just everyday moments. It's taking those everyday moments and life lessons, making it a life lesson. That is honestly the best way to teach emotional intelligence, even self-regulation. It's in the moment of something happening, because how do you have to teach them, right? You have to teach them how to not even just have empathy with others, but with themselves too. But you do have to teach them in the moment when something is happening. That is probably the best way for life lessons to happen. So yes, you're busy and you're juggling everything that children, other children, job, everything, dinner, everything. And so when opportunities, when challenges happen, and maybe, I don't know, two children are fighting in the home, that is the moment where you have to stop and pause, and then you have to address what is happening and teach them in the moment what they should do, how they should be responding, what are some ways they can respond, how can they together resolve the issue that's happening. And that right there is a life lesson, but it's happening in the moment. And that's really truly when they learn how to use those tools that you want them to use. It's in the moment.
okay. Your YouTube channel proves that screens can be powerful learning tools. How can parents make screen time intentional and educational instead of a digital babysitter? And before you answer that, we had a question that was similar from Worldwide Travelers. Again, I'll put that up on the screen. How to keep children busy so that they listen and stay away from mobile phones and TV. So again, I'll repeat the question. Your YouTube channel proves screens can be powerful learning tools. How can parents make screen time intentional and educational instead of a digital babysitter?
So again, it goes back to the individual family and the parent and that family to decide, how do I want screens to be used in my home? What does that look like? And so if you want it to only be an educational resource, then you have to seek out the educational shows and the educational games or educational music or whatever it is that you are researching on these platforms. You have to seek that out, and then you have to, whether it's download the specific channels or you have to create the playlist, or it does take a few extra steps and some intention. But you as an individual family have to decide, what does that look like for my family? This is what I want screen time to be. I want it to be only educational focused. And so, yes, you do have to take the extra steps to, really set that up for your child. And again, this goes back to, if that is what you decide for your child, then you just have to consistently repeat that and let them know, this is how we use it. This is what we're watching. Oh, we're not watching that. And so there are different platforms that allow parental controls. And so you can utilize those, but it does take intention, and you have to take the steps necessary to create that in your home. And then to the question about how to keep the kids away from the TVs and the mobile devices so that they can learn, I guess, outside of the screen. Again, you can create routines in your home, and you can say, at this time, it is tablet time. And so maybe tablet time is only 15 minutes a day, and you put it away, but put it away. Put the tablet away, out of sight, and then give your child other options. So just because you say, no, we're not watching that, we're not doing that, no phones, no this. Well, what's the other option? What are the options we have? What else can we do? Introduce board games. I love introducing board games at 3 years old. That's such a great age to start introducing board games, cooperative play games, introduce cards, introduce books, introduce, educational toys or other options, so that they know the tablet or phone is not the only option. Well, what else is there? So you have to give them other things to replace that with. If they're already used to it, what are they replacing it with? And make it fun. You play with them, and you might not have to play with them all the time, but in the beginning, when you're introducing it, play with them, show them it can be fun. We don't have to have a tablet. We can do this. We can build with blocks, etc.
I agree. Play with your children. And also, like, when you're watching these educational shows, watch with them. I love it when parents, I'm a big advocate for that. That way you can keep an eye on them if they just click over to maybe a Roblox YouTube channel or something like that. No, that's where my grandson, he knows how to play Roblox, and he's never played it, just from YouTube. And he could teach other people how to play it. He teaches my granddaughter how to play, and she has it, and she's in another country. So yeah, it's interesting what they can learn, but you want to monitor what they are learning.
I agree. I think that is key. Watch it with them, whatever they're watching, so you also know what's going on. Yeah, I agree.
Now, representation, we know, matters, especially for young Black children. Let me ask you a question that's not even on my list of questions. Do you ever get compared to Miss Rachel, and how do you handle that?
Oh, that's a good question. I wouldn't say so much comparison, but people will say, if they find out what I do and maybe they don't know who I am, they'll say, oh, well, my child watches this person or they watch that person. And so it's not so much comparison. It's kind of like, oh, well, who are you? What do you do? Because my child watches this, And so I wouldn't say it's comparison, but we are often in the same circles. Absolutely, we are in the same circles. But I do believe representation is important, especially if we're only talking about the YouTube space specifically. You're starting to see more Black channels and more educators, which I think is wonderful. But you're starting to see more of us creating and being there. But we're not always at the top, right? We're not always at the forefront that is being pushed out. And so it's important that you support the channels from people like myself and others that you like, that your children like, that you enjoy, that you are saying, oh, yes, I'm glad they're here. Oh, yes, this is what we need. When you say that, keep sharing, keep sharing, keep watching, keep referring and pushing, because we need the algorithm to know that we need to be pushed out as well, because
Okay.
that is not always happening, which we know.
So how can parents make sure their little ones see themselves reflected in the stories, toys, and lessons they learn from?
Again, in being intentional, looking for, in this case we're talking digitally, so looking for the representation online, if that is important to you. And we know children should see themselves, and they can have diversity, but they should see themselves represented. You have to be intentional, you have to seek it out. I hear often from families, they're like, I'm so glad I found you. I didn't even know you existed. And again, whether they're typing it in and just looking for, Black educator, female Black teacher, teacher of color, what, I don't know, whatever they're typing in, sometimes you do have to do that. And I think, as so many Black households know, you have to go the extra mile or 10 to seek that out and to create that for your child. So it's, definitely important.
Okay. This goes with my next question. So I'm going to put this question from Polished Mom up. And she says, what about the pushback not wanting to do new activities? And second question, do you do this in your gentle parenting voice? And she's talking about screen time specifically. So they don't want to get off their tablets to do whatever homework. They don't want to get off to do a board game. They don't want to get off. And my next question goes into tantrums. So I'm going to segue into the next question. But can you address, Polished Mom, about what to do when they don't want to get off the tablets or leave their screen time?
I think what can really help with this is establishing new routines, which can be difficult, but I think establishing new routines in your house when it comes to younger children can be helpful. So instead of, okay, it's a Friday afternoon and today I didn't want anybody to be on the tablet, so I'm just taking all the tablets from everyone. Yes, it's going to be an uproar. You are going, there's going to be tantrums. It's going to be like, I don't want to do it. But if you decide, okay, you know what, next week I'm going to start implementing a new routine. And a part of that routine is we're only going to use tablets maybe in the afternoon. Maybe we're not going to use it all day long. Maybe I'm going to lock it away at a certain point, because the points during your child's day when it's hardest to get them to stop. Right? These children are digital children. There's no way around it. They are born into this digital world. They see tablets, they have phones, they know what to do, they know how to use them, and everyone around them is using it, right? Even if you don't have screen time often in your home, these children are still digital children. They know it exists. So you have to create the routine of, when is it digital time? When are we going to use these devices? If you know that right before dinner, it is so hard to get your child off of that phone or off of that tablet, and they are throwing a fit, then we're going to create a new routine where they're not even using that tablet before dinner. Like, it's going to be a morning time, or it's going to be an evening before bed, or something to that effect. But no matter what you decide, this is always going to go back to repetition, 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 and you have to stay consistent. So if this is what the new routine is, if this is what the new schedule is and the new rules in the home, then you have to be consistent with it. But I want to also be very honest and transparent with you. Now, this is for me as an educator, and also a special education preschool teacher. My whole career, I've been a special education preschool teacher specifically, and I've always worked with behavior challenges in the classroom. And I've also gone into homes and worked with children one-on-one. And the one thing I remind parents is that the solution that we're creating right now, it is not going to take effect overnight. It may not even happen in a week. We have to stick to it. We have to have stick-to-itness. What do they call it? Stick-to-itiveness. Yep. We really do, because it can take 3 months before, and this is, of course, each child is different, but it can take a period of time before children really understand the routine and accept it and are able to follow it on their own independently. And so just know it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen. But you have to stay consistent and keep repeating it. Okay. Oh, yes, go ahead.
No, that's a good answer. Now, so the viewers know that you are the super duper educator. Are you a mom as well?
I'm not a mother. And it's not by choice that I don't want to be. It's been a battle. It's been some challenges, uphill challenges, but I'm an auntie, of course, an educator. And I would say all my students are my children.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll see one day, hopefully.
You have hundreds of children out there from your students who you've taught. So yes, you're a mom to all of them, because we know you care. Let's go into the tantrum part. Let's talk about the meltdowns and like, what should be a way that, give us a way that a parent can regulate their children's emotion when they're in a full-blown tantrum? You took my tablet, now I am mad, what can they do?
I know when you're in public, this can be really, really hard just to let them have the tantrum. Like, obviously they have to sometimes get it out. They have to cry. They have to yell. They're screaming there. And it's because they are in this position of like, it's just kind of imagine yourself like the heat is boiling. You feel like just fire everywhere. It's like, that's really like the state they're in. And it is hard for them to bring it down and calm themselves and of course, self-regulate. So I've seen so many different ways that you can handle this. And this is with different children. Something I used to do in the classroom is get down on the floor with them. I allow them to have the tantrum, but try to make sure they're safe. They're in a safe space. They're not going to knock anything down on their head. That's first and foremost. And then if you can connect with them and just give them some type of comfort, some children allow for some pressure, for some hugs, for some just calming techniques, just rubbing their back, rubbing their head. Some children do allow for that, but you do have to give them a moment to find that calm. And it is hard to come down from that fiery state. So I really just say, just trying to find a place to connect with them, just getting them off to the side. And if you're at home, then just telling, if you have a calm down corner, that could be really great. If they have a special blankie or special pillow or stuffy, that can also be helpful to allow them to hug it, to allow them to find some type of safe and calmness within their body. And then you can go on to whatever the next step is, which if you're trying to explain to them, we're trying to go have lunch, or we need to go into the car, or whatever the case is. But you do have to almost let them get it out their system and then find a way to calm them down, to make sure they know they're safe in it. They're okay. And they can bring their bodies down.
And safety is key. And that's why I love circle time, because it's predictable, it's consistency, which makes kids feel safe. And sometimes parents need a circle time of their own. We really do, where we could just share. Because I remember having my preschool kids share things they were supposed to share at circle time because they felt safe, And I'm like, I don't know if mommy and daddy want you to tell me about that, but okay, it's okay.
Too much.
I'm going to try to change the question, but it's happened. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That happens all the time.
And you can't do anything to teach you for a minute. You're like this.
Okay. Well, thank you
Your
for
mouth
sharing.
is the floor. Like, okay, yes, okay.
Well,
Let's
you
go
for
to
that.
this other thing now. But how can we as parents stay patient, grounded, and connected when we're feeling overwhelmed with the kids? Because parents, we need care too.
Yeah, parents need care. This is let's push the kids aside, right? We're talking about self-care now. And this is when it comes to the adults. Self-care is necessary, and it is hard to fit in time for yourself. I admit that. I understand. I can only imagine, but it is so important to really just have that time for yourself, that whatever it is you need. If it's you need time, just in the morning, an extra 20 minutes, maybe you have to get up a little earlier before everyone gets up. If you need 30 minutes after you get in the door, for maybe you were working, you had to do pickups, whatever you need, you have to try to find a way to give it to yourself, because we all know the saying, like, if you are burnt out, then you can't take care of anyone else. If you are just at a point where you are just falling apart, then how can you give it to anyone else if your cup is empty, right? So definitely self-care is important.
Okay. What's one activity that you've done in the classroom that can translate into the home to help parents with their preschooler to build confidence and independence? What can we do?
I think there's so many things you can do. One thing I love, since we were talking about circle time, is at home, if you start a routine of just talking about what day it is, what the weather is. I think that's why circle time is so special. We're just talking about simple things, what color you're wearing today, allowing your children to talk about those things, and then eventually be the one to say, oh, it's sunny outside. Or I saw a parent, she was talking about just allowing her child to pick his socks each day. Just pick out the socks, find the pair, decide what color he was wearing. That was so important. And that really built up his confidence, because after a while, then he wanted to pick out a shirt. He wanted to pick out the pants, right? But he just loved that he was able to do that independently. That was his thing, that he got to pick out the socks. So there's little tiny things like that you can do that helps to build confidence.
That's fantastic. I want you to tell us more about the show. You talked about how it started in with COVID. What can parents find when they go to see Circle Time with Miss Monica?
Of course, fun and excitement, a safe place for children to learn. That's first and foremost. But you can really expect basic preschool skills. So one of my missions is to prepare children for preschool and beyond. So it doesn't matter what age they are. I mean, we have 1-year-olds and 18-month-olds like are learning on Circle Time, but it's preparing them for preschool and beyond. So with the basic skills and also some life lessons. So that is what you are going to find on Circle Time. And you're also going to find some lovable characters like Duck Duck. I think Duck Duck is bigger than me now at this point, but characters like Duck Duck, which we continue to evolve, and them really going into what's happening in the world and teaching us real life lessons in the moment. So you can find a lot of that, especially on our new season. So excited to keep.
And I'm sure the name Duck Duck came from Duck Duck Goose.
No, it didn't. He's only a duck.
Oh, wow. I just knew it came from Duck Duck Goose. Okay.
Yeah. But the reason, it's because, I don't know, I would just always say, oh, the duck is so cute, Duck Duck. It just came about one day. Right.
Okay.
That's a good one. Duck Duck.
I thought that was the backstory this whole time. Okay, no worries. Okay. Now, it's been such a joy speaking with you today, but how can our audience follow your journey if they don't already and keep learning from you online?
Oh, absolutely. You can follow me at Monica J. Sutton, that's Sutton, across social media platforms, or you can just type in Ms. Monica, and I usually pop up as well.
Well, that's good. Guys, I want you to go follow her. Here's her YouTube channel right here. Yes. Also follow us. I'm going to say that a couple times through this closing. We need your love too. If you're watching this on the replay, put comments, always comment and everything. But Miss Monica, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I love speaking with you. I think this was awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate you. I appreciate this conversation and everyone who joined. Thank you so much.
Well, we got to have you back on the show sometime, and maybe you can tell us what you're doing new and what wins you have, because I see your YouTube trophies back there. So congratulations on that too.
Thank you. Yes, I'm ready to come back. We can keep it going.
All right. And a big shout out to all of you who are watching this. So again, thank you from me and for watching this episode of BACKtalk and our other episodes. You can find us on all of the platforms for podcasts. Be sure you follow us on social media. We're Successful Black Parenting everywhere, and click on everything. We need your engagement, your follows, your likes, even the ads. If you're not going to buy anything, click on them. It helps us. Until next time, I wish you all the best and much success. Take care, and thank you for listening again, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in to BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We'll see you soon.